Nobody wanted. Her Ilari stood quietly near the back of the long hall. It was her bonding day, but no one came forward. She was small, quiet, and not strong like the other Zayla girls. Her skin had a soft glow, and her large silver eyes often looked down. She didn't speak much, she didn't fight, she didn't brag like the others. That made her weak in the eyes of her people. One by one, the alien males chose their partners. Each tall Zayla female walked proudly to her chosen mate. Loud cheers followed. But when Ilari's name was called, silence filled the room. She waited, heart pounding, her hands shaking. But not a single male stepped forward. The bonding master cleared his throat and said, "Ilari of House Yavari, unchosen." Gasps and whispers filled the room. A few aliens laughed. One voice said, "She's too small." Another said, "Who wants a weak one like her?" Ilari's chest felt tight. She tried to hold back her tears. Her mother turned her face away. Her father had not even come, and just like that, her fate was sealed. She was labeled unbonded, unfit, and rejected. In Zayla culture, being unbonded meant she would be sent to a labor planet. There, girls worked in hard conditions, mining, cleaning, farming, or worse. No one cared what happened to them. Once rejected, they were forgotten. Ilari didn't scream. She didn't run. She walked quietly out of the hall, her eyes on the floor. She was given a small room to wait until her transport arrived. She sat alone. She thought about what she did wrong. Maybe she should have spoken louder. Maybe she should have trained harder. But deep inside, she knew. She just wasn't what they wanted. 3 days passed. The ship came to take her away. It was a dark cargo ship full of rejected females. They didn't talk to each other. Some stared blankly at the walls. Others cried. Ilari stayed quiet. She held her small bag close and looked out the window as her home planet faded behind her. Their destination was a work colony in Sector 7G. It was cold, dry, and full of dust. The air smelled like metal and fuel. Ilari was assigned to clean the holding cells. It was a dangerous job. Some prisoners were violent. Some were monsters. But rejected girls didn't get choices. Her first day was long. She scrubbed the floors, wiped down walls, and stayed out of everyone's way. She was almost done when the guard called her. "You, go clean Cell 9. Cell 9 was different. He was different. Inside sat a human male. His hands were chained, but he didn't look afraid. He had dark hair, strong shoulders, and eyes that didn't look away when she entered. Ilari froze. She had never seen a human this close. They were rare in this part of the galaxy. Some said humans were wild and dangerous. Others said they were brave and kind. No one agreed. She moved slowly, cleaning the corner of the room. He didn't speak, but his eyes followed her. Not in a bad way, just curious. On the second day, she came again. This time he said something. "Are you okay?" She blinked. No one had asked her that in a long time. She didn't answer. She just nodded. Each day, she came to his cell. Each time he spoke more. He told her his name, Kai. He said he was captured after crossing into alien space by mistake. He said they feared humans because humans didn't follow their rules. She listened. She didn't say much. But slowly, she began to speak too. Just a little. Kai didn't laugh at her voice. He didn't call her weak. He looked at her like she mattered. One night after the guards left, he whispered, "You don't belong here." She whispered back, "I have nowhere else." He looked into her eyes and said, "Then come with me." Ilari's heart beat faster. She was scared, but for the first time she also felt hope. Hope that maybe in this cold place, someone had seen her, not her size, not her weakness, but her heart. And what she didn't know was that her story, her real story, was just beginning, because this human, the one everyone feared, would become the only one who ever truly chose her. The human prisoner. The other workers warned her. Don't get close to the human, they said. He's dangerous. He doesn't act like us. But Ilari kept going back. Every morning she cleaned cell 9. And every day the human named Kai waited quietly, not like a beast but like someone watching the stars from behind bars. Kai was not like anyone she had met before. He didn't shout. He didn't growl like the other prisoners. He didn't even beg the guards. He just sat there, calm, patient, and strangely peaceful. Most aliens feared humans. They called them wild, unpredictable, and proud. But Ilari didn't see those things in Kai. She saw tired eyes. She saw hands full of scars. She saw someone who had lived through pain but didn't let it turn him cold. One day when she gave him his meal, he asked gently, "What's your name?" Ilari paused. She had never shared her name with a prisoner. It wasn't allowed. But she whispered, "Ilari." He smiled slightly. That's beautiful. No one had ever said her name like that before. No one had ever said it was beautiful. From that day, things changed. Their conversations were short, quiet, and secret. She told him how she was rejected by all Zela males. How she was sent here because she had no value. She didn't cry while saying it. She had already run out of tears. But Kai didn't laugh. He didn't look down on her. He listened. And when she finished, he looked right into her eyes and said, "They were blind to lose you." That one line stayed in her heart. It echoed in her mind during the long hours of work. No one had ever called her something worth losing. Days turned into weeks. Ilari noticed strange things about Kai. He studied the guards' paths. He watched the time between patrols. He kept track of shift changes. He never spoke about it, but she knew. He was planning something. She wanted to pretend she didn't see it. Helping a prisoner escape was a death sentence. But a question kept rising in her heart. If he tried to run, would she stop him? One day something strange happened. A new alien guard pushed Ilari roughly as she walked past. Tiny thing, useless even as a cleaner, he sneered. She fell to the floor. Her elbow hit hard. She bit her lip to stay silent, but the guard didn't stop. He raised his hand again, until Kai's voice cut through the hallway. Touch her again, and you'll regret it. Everyone turned. Kai was still chained, but his voice was cold and sharp like a blade. The guard paused, smirked, and walked away. That night, Ilari visited his cell again. She looked at him through the barrier. "Why did you defend me?" she asked. Kai didn't answer at first. Then, in a low voice, he said, "Because I've seen too much cruelty, and I won't watch it happen again. Not to you." Ilari felt something inside her shift. Not fear, not confusion. Something warm, something strong. She began sneaking him extra food. A data chip from the cleaning station. A stolen keycard. She didn't ask what he would do with them. She already knew. One evening, as the lights dimmed for night rotation, Kai looked at her and said, "If I go, I want you with me." Her breath caught in her throat. "No one else would say that to me," she whispered. "I'm not like them," Kai replied. "And neither are you." Ilari stared at the locked cell. Her hands trembled. Her heart raced. Could she really do it? Could she help a human prisoner escape? And yet, what had she to lose? She had no future here. No family. No bond. Just an empty title and a tired soul. So that night, while the guards slept and the halls stayed dark, Ilari made her choice. She would open cell 9. She would run with the human because maybe, just maybe, this time, someone was choosing her back. Escape across the stars, the lock clicked open. For the first time since she arrived on the labor planet, Ilari had broken a rule, a big one. Her fingers still trembled from what she had done, but the door to cell 9 now stood open. And Kai was already standing ready. "You came back," he said quietly. Ilari gave a small nod. "I don't know where we're going, but I can't stay here." Kai's eyes locked onto hers. Then we run. Together. The alarm had not gone off, yet. But they both knew they had only minutes. Ilari led the way through the underground passage she discovered 2 weeks ago while cleaning. It wasn't on the normal map. The guards had forgotten it, but she hadn't. Her heart beat faster with every step. Her body wanted to turn back, to hide. But something inside her had changed. This time she wasn't walking alone. They climbed, a narrow tunnel that opened near the ship bay. It was quiet. Too quiet. Most guards were asleep or drunk. Only a few walked around, bored, unaware of what was about to happen. They moved like shadows, sticking to corners, avoiding light. Ilari didn't know how she had become so brave. Maybe it wasn't bravery. Maybe it was hope. The escape ship was an old patrol craft, half broken, one wing damaged, but the engine still worked. Kai had studied it during his time in the cell, using stolen schematics from the guard station Ilari had passed to him. They climbed aboard. Ilari took the seat next to him, holding her breath. Kai started the engine. A low hum filled the air. Then the warning lights came on. Unauthorized. "Launch detected," the voice echoed. Too late. The guards saw them. Blaster fire shot across the hangar. Red lights blinked. Voices shouted, "Stop the ship. Block the launch path." Kai gripped the controls, his jaw tight. "Hold on." Ilari closed her eyes. As the ship jumped forward, the launch doors opened just enough for the small craft to squeeze through. Sparks flew. One blast hit the side panel. Smoke rose. But the ship broke free. They burst into the blackness of space. Stars stretched before them. Behind them, the planet grew smaller and smaller. "We made it," Ilari whispered, almost not believing it. Kai didn't relax. "They'll come after us, that wasn't the hard part. But we're free," she said, for now. Their ship shook again, one engine. Failed mid-flight. They drifted through unknown space, heading for a nearby moon. It was dry and full of red sand. Not much life. But it was quiet, and it gave them a place to hide. They landed hard. Sparks flew again. Ilari was thrown forward, but caught herself. The ship was dying, but they were alive. As they stepped outside, she looked up at the strange sky. Multiple suns, no cities, no guards. Just quiet. Ilari turned to Kai. "Why did you take me with you?" He looked down at her and said, "Because you were the only one who saw me as more than a prisoner." Ilari didn't answer right away. She thought about all the times she had looked at herself in mirrors and felt like nothing. But here, with him, she didn't feel small anymore. She felt seen. That night they built a small camp. No fire, just heat packs and rations. She sat next to him under the stars. "I used to think no one would ever choose me," she said softly. "I did," Kai answered. "And I will again, every time." Ilari looked into his eyes. There were stars in them too. Far away, the galaxy searched for a missing prisoner and a useless alien girl, but neither of them cared. Because for the first time, she wasn't running from something. She was running toward something. Planet of fire and secrets. The land beneath their feet was cracked and hot. The skies were heavy with smoke, and red winds blew across empty canyons. The moon they had landed on wasn't friendly, but it wasn't full of guards or cruel voices either. For Ilari, that made it the best place she had ever been. They walked, for hours through the rocky wasteland. Ilari's feet ached, but she didn't complain. Kai led the way, scanning the area with quiet focus. Then finally, he stopped. He pressed his hand against a flat wall of black stone. Nothing happened. Ilari looked confused, but then the rock shimmered and opened. Behind it was a deep tunnel that led under the surface. Lights flickered to life as they entered. The air inside was cooler, silent, not natural. Ilari followed Kai into the darkness, heart pounding. "This place? What is it?" she asked. Kai turned to her. "It was built by humans, long ago, before the galaxy feared us." Ilari's eyes widened. A hidden human base? On an alien moon? That wasn't just rare. It was impossible. As they stepped deeper, machines came to life. Walls lit up with soft blue lights. Doors opened without a sound. Inside one room, metal tables were covered in dusty tools. Strange suits hung on the walls. Ilari had never seen such technology. Kai moved like he knew the place. He typed on glowing panels. Lights blinked. A map of the galaxy appeared on the wall. Red dots. Routes. Safe zones. "You've been here before," Ilari said. He nodded slowly. "Years ago. Before they took me." She looked at him, confused. "Who are you really?" Kai was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. "I was a strategist in the Human Union fleet. I planned missions. I studied alien systems, but one day my ship was ambushed. They took me, erased the records, and called me a criminal. They feared I knew too much." Ilari sat down, stunned. He wasn't just a prisoner. He was a lost commander. A ghost from a forgotten war. "But why didn't you fight back before?" she asked. "I waited," he said. "Waited for the right time, and the right person." She knew what he meant. Her cheeks warmed, but she didn't look away. In the next room, they found supplies, food, water, clean clothes. Ilari changed out of her worn worker suit and into a soft fabric that felt like clouds on her skin. For the first time in her life, she felt human comfort. Even if she wasn't human, they stayed hidden there for days. Kai repaired the damaged parts of the ship using tools from the base. Ilari helped. She learned quickly. He showed her how to patch cables, connect wires, and scan for signals. She had never been trusted with real tasks before. But now she was more than just a helper. She was his partner. At night, they sat together, talking quietly. "What will we do now?" Ilari asked. Kai looked at the galaxy map. "We can't run forever. If we want to live free, we have to shake the whole system." Her eyes widened. "But we're only two people." He smiled. That's how every change begins, Ilari thought. About her past, how she had been thrown aside like trash, how her own people had left her behind. She thought about the other rejected girls, the ones still cleaning floors, still crying alone, still believing they had no worth. "No one ever came back for girls like me," she whispered. "Then we will," Kai said firmly. Ilari felt something strong rise inside her. Not fear, not shame, purpose. That night, the quiet base became something new. A promise, a starting point, because now they weren't just survivors, they were a spark, and the galaxy had no idea what was coming next. Love in the shadow of war was coming. But in the quiet moments, something soft began to grow. Ilari never thought someone could see her, truly see her. She had always been too small, too gentle, too weak in the eyes of her people. But now, in the middle of a dusty, forgotten moon, she was sitting beside a human who looked at her like she was the center of the stars. Kai was busy rebuilding the comms panel, his hands covered in grease. Ilari handed him tools without needing to ask. They had learned each other's rhythms. They worked in silence, but it wasn't cold. It was warm, comfortable, close. One evening, while checking an old storage unit, Ilari found something strange. Old Earth items. A music player. Books in soft paper. A cracked photo of people smiling. She held it carefully, her fingers brushing the faded image. "These are your memories?" she asked Kai when he saw her holding the photo. He looked at it and gave a sad smile. "Some of the last pieces I had before they took me." Ilari looked down. "Do you miss your home?" "Every day," he said. "But now, I've found something I didn't even know I needed." She looked up. "What's that?" He met her eyes. "You." Ilari froze. Her heart skipped. She had been ignored, laughed at, thrown away, and yet this human, who had seen war, loss, and betrayal, was telling her she mattered. She didn't speak for a moment. Then she said softly, "Everyone told me I was a waste. That I was made wrong. They lied, Kai said. You were made perfect. Tears stung her eyes, but she smiled through them. Then why did no one see it before you? He reached out and took her hand gently. Because they were blind. I'm not. From that day, their bond deepened. They weren't just running from the galaxy anymore. They were building something new, something theirs. Ilari stopped being afraid of her own voice. She asked questions. She shared memories. She laughed. And Kai listened, truly listened, like every word she said had weight. At night, they sat together near the old heater in the base. She would lay her head on his shoulder while he explained old Earth tales, stories of heroes, of love, of standing up when no one else would. Ilari listened like those stories were magic. One night he showed her a piece of metal shaped like a ring. It was from my ship, he said. Part of the engine, but I kept it after they crashed us. He looked nervous for the first time. Want you to have it? Ilari blinked. Why? He smiled. Because I don't need it anymore to remember who I was. Now I want to remember who I'm becoming. With you. She clutched the ring in her hand like it was made of stars. But just as they began to dream of something more, the warning system screamed. Ilari jumped up. What is that? Kai checked the screen. His face darkened. They found us. A bounty ship, fast, armed, and getting closer by the second. They didn't have time to think. Kai rushed to the main door, grabbing weapons and tools. Ilari followed, her hands shaking. Not from fear, but from anger. They had just started to feel free. She wasn't ready to lose it all again. As the sky turned red and dust rose from the horizon, Kai turned to her. We may not win this fight, he said. She stepped forward, eyes fierce. Then we fight anyway. He looked at her for a long second, and then he kissed her forehead. You've already won me. In the distance, the ship landed hard, armored aliens marched out, and Ilari, the girl once called worthless, stood side by side with the human who believed in her. Because, when love grows in the shadow of war, it becomes stronger than anything that tries to kill it. They took him from her. The sky broke open with fire. Bounty hunters landed like thunder, shaking the dry ground beneath Ilari's feet. She had no armor, no weapons, only the strength of her heart, and the fear that she was about to lose the only person who had ever truly seen her. Kai stood at the front of the base, holding a pulse rifle he barely had time to repair. His jaw was set, but his eyes were on her. Stay behind me, he told her. I won't hide, she replied, voice steady. Not this time. The first blast hit the outer wall. Dust and sparks filled the air. Kai fired back, hitting one of the hunters. But there were too many. They came with tech stronger than expected. Plasma nets, stun fields, signal jammers. Kai kept fighting until the net hit him from behind. He dropped, his body locked in place, twitching from the electric shock. Kai, Ilari screamed, running toward him, but it was too late. The bounty leader stepped forward, tall and sharp-eyed, covered in black armor. He stared at Ilari with disgust. A Zayla girl with a human fugitive? Pathetic. Ilari tried to shield Kai's body, but a guard struck her, sending her to the ground. They dragged Kai away, his eyes wide with pain, his mouth trying to speak, but no words came. The collar they put on him blocked his voice. She lay there, gasping, bleeding, helpless, again. Just like before. Just like when they told her she was worthless. The ship door closed. They were gone. Hours passed, or maybe days. Ilari sat in silence inside the ruined base. The machines were broken. The lights had died. Her hands shook, but not from fear. From rage. They had taken him, just like they had taken her future once before. But this time, she wasn't a quiet girl waiting to be chosen. She would choose herself. She rose from the cold floor. Her body ached, her arm bruised, her legs weak, but her eyes were burning. She searched through every room of the base, She remembered every word Kai had ever said, every button he had pressed, every panel he had taught her to open. In a locked storage room, she found a single working drone, a battle model, half buried in dust. She reactivated it with a code Kai once showed her. The machine blinked to life. Voice match Ilari. Status unknown. Orders? She answered in a voice stronger than she ever used before. Help me bring him back. The drone scanned the galaxy records, tracked the bounty ship, found its location, the Galactic Council's main warship, orbiting a central command planet, a place no Zayla female, or any outsider, was ever meant to enter. She didn't care. Ilari loaded the emergency flight program into the damaged patrol ship. She strapped in. The ring Kai gave her was still around her neck. Her hands trembled as she grabbed the controls. She had never flown alone before. But she wasn't afraid. She whispered to herself, "You believed in me, Kai. Now it's my turn." The ship launched into the stars like a spark set loose in a dry sky. When she reached the Council warship, they didn't expect her. They laughed when she entered. "She's alone?" one said. "This is a joke." But they didn't laugh long. Ilari came not with an army, but with fire in her soul. She hacked the doors, she dodged the guards, she found the holding chamber, and when she saw him, beaten, chained, his eyes full of silent sorrow, she didn't cry. She screamed his name. "Kai!" The guards tried to stop her. The drone she brought lit up the hallway with defense beams. One by one, the path cleared. She reached him, ripped the collar off his neck, and held his face in her hands. He blinked. "You came for me." "Always," she said. They ran side by side through the council's halls, and this time it was the galaxy that was afraid. Chosen by the one who mattered, the escape was not silent. It was not clean, it was not perfect, it was loud, it was chaotic, it was powerful, and it was beautiful. Ilari and Kai ran through the council ship with alarms screaming behind them. Guards shouted, lights flashed red, but none of that mattered. She was no longer the girl who was too quiet, too soft, too small. She had broken into the strongest ship in the galaxy, alone, and she was taking back the only soul who had ever truly seen her. As they reached the docking bay, more guards appeared. But the drone, still following Ilari's orders, defended them with precision. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the air. A final blast opened the path to their old ship. Kai fell against the wall, weak but breathing. Ilari grabbed his arm and pulled him inside. She didn't wait for anyone's permission. She didn't ask for help. She launched them into hyperspace with her own hands. The stars bent around them. Silence filled the ship again. She dropped to her knees beside him. He opened his eyes. "You came for me," he whispered. She nodded. Her voice broke. "They tried to take you, but they don't get to decide what I lose anymore." Kai smiled weakly. "I knew you were stronger than they ever believed." Ilari looked at him with a kind of fierce, quiet love that didn't need to be spoken, because it had already been proven in action, in fire, in the risk of everything. They hid for days in a small system beyond the council's reach. While Kai recovered, Ilari repaired the ship, ran scans, checked old frequencies. But something strange was happening in the galaxy. Their escape had been recorded and broadcast. The stolen security footage showed everything. Ilari breaking into the council warship, standing over their best guards, dragging out a chained human, male like he was the only thing that mattered in the universe. People started asking questions. Who was she? Why would a Zayla female risk her life for a human fugitive? What kind of bond made a girl who was once rejected become fearless? Other rejected females saw it. They watched the video in silence. And something began to change. Across colonies and worker camps, Zayla girls who had been cast aside began to speak louder. They questioned the rules. Some escaped, some fought back, some simply stopped believing they were worthless. The council tried to hide the footage, but it was too late. It had already spread. In a hidden comm channel, a message appeared. Her name is Ilari. She was rejected by every male in her species, but chosen by the one who mattered. Ilari didn't try to become a symbol. She never wanted to start a rebellion, but her name became one. Because in a galaxy built on power and pride, one soft-spoken girl had reminded everyone of something far more dangerous. Love. Not the kind in stories. Not pretty words or perfect endings. The kind where you fight. Where you break chains. Where you face the whole world if it means holding on to someone who chose you when no one else did. One night, sitting under the stars again, Kai held her hand. I used to be proud of my rank, my skills, my ship, he said, but now I'm proudest of you. She smiled, leaning her head against his shoulder. You found me when I had nothing. No, he whispered. You were always something. I just saw it. They didn't go back to Earth. They didn't return to Zayla. They built a new home in the stars, quiet, hidden but not forgotten. Because everywhere, across systems both free and broken, the story remained. The girl nobody wanted became the hero no one could ignore.